So hi, welcome back to the lab. So last week I promised to do another video replacing the capacitors that were stolen on this unit, and guess what, I went to the market and I have the capacitors here. So let's see what capacitors I got. So the capacitors I got, I have for another thing, these are 63 volts by 470, two of them. But for this unit, I needed 4 capacitors rated at 50 volts by 470 microfarad, and those are here. So these are the capacitors, and some ICs there. So these are the TL94, yeah, 494, TL494 for another project I'll be talking about later. So let's get this over with. So I believe in every video, for every video to make some sense, you need to have a take home. You need to learn something for every video I make, ranging from 1 lesson to 10 lessons that you may learn from my videos. And for today I'm going to be reminding you the reason why capacitors fail. You know, I had done a video about that. Maybe you need to check out that video and learn, remind yourself what makes capacitors to go bad. I'll also be reminding you today. And for this unit, we are going to do some investigative work and find the reason why our capacitors got pregnant or decided to swell. It's not like they decided to swell, but they don't have a brain of their own. But we are going to see the reason behind that. So let's head to the bench and we do this. Well, we are at the bench, and we need to take this motherboard out. We need to unplug all these connectors. So yeah, and to successfully remove this motherboard, we also need to get this back plate out. So this plate needs to come off. And we remove these screws. So there are some screws holding the ports. It just comes off. There are some screws holding the motherboard. Also on the heatsink, I have 2 screws that need to be removed. And I can lift the motherboard that way, and then it's off. So I think this is a straightforward replacement. So these are the capacitors that we need to replace, and I don't know if you can tell. If you look, they are solid. Well, let's remove them, and removing them is straightforward. So I'm just going to add some solder to these pins. And then they just come off. And they are off. Now what I need to do is to clean this solder from the holes, and since I ran out of soldering wick, so I just get a piece of tube like this one. So this is from a ball pen, and we are going to blow them using our mouth. So I'm just going to make sure I don't inhale the smoke. So I'll come with my soldering tip there, and then just like that. This one is very effective. So you can see the holes are all clean. As you can see, very clean. So I'll just make sure that there is no leftover solder on this side. I don't need to make a short somewhere on this board, because this board can be very expensive to get new. I think it's clean. These are the capacitors we are going to be installing. So these are the new ones. These capacitors are from Huanghong. So these are Huanghong. So I don't know whether they are original or generic, but time will tell. So if we look at the original capacitors, so they are from Tibo or what? So how do you read this name? Tibo or Bo or what? I was kind of hoping to get some Nishikon. So Nishikon capacitors are really good from this brand, Nishikon. So, but we are going to work with what we have. So remember, capacitors have polarity, so especially these polarized capacitors. So this is the negative lead, and it goes to the shaded, you see this shaded part, that's where you get your negative terminal. So make sure you don't install them in the wrong direction, because they are just going to blow up. Now it's time to solder them. So the proper way of soldering is you heat the capacitors wire, and then you come with your solder like that, like this. This is how you do it. See how the solder flows? It flows very well. So right now I need to trim the excess leads, and I'll use a nail cutter. So I straighten them a bit. So if you have some alcohol, you need to clean this flux. So now we have new capacitors installed. So if we were to use a components tester, you might be surprised that these ones measure as good, but since they are showing some signs that they are the end of their life, that's why I decided to replace them. It's kind of a preventive measure, so that we don't have capacitors popping inside the unit in the future. So after replacing a component on a board like this, it's always a good idea to do a continuity test and see that you did not make a short. So I'll just go through them. No short, no short, no short. So I think we are good. So let me put the motherboard back. Alright, so the motherboard is back in place, and now let's talk about the reasons why capacitors fail. So in my earlier video that I did on capacitors, we said that one of the main reasons why capacitors fail is aging. This unit is a bit old, and seems like those capacitors have come to the end of their life. So as capacitors age, they start drying up, they start heating up, and that's when they die. So like these ones have come to the end of their life. So the other thing that will kill capacitors is heat. So this region here is a very high temperature region. So we have your heat sink there, and you have your inductors here, which will give off some heat, and these capacitors will be soaking some of that heat. So I will attribute my capacitors swelling to age and also heat. Well, hope this video has reminded you of something, and I'll see you next time. So remember to share, subscribe, and also leave a comment.